Well, hello there. So, have you ever poured your feelings onto paper and then noticed how much better you felt just by getting it out there? And then I wonder, why don't doctors prescribe journaling when we're sick if it's something that really works? I think writing can help when you are stuck or overwhelmed. I know it's helped me, but today we're going to get into it. So, welcome to Mind Blowing Thursdays. My name is Trish Ajel Roberts. I'm a transformational leadership coach, a corporate well being strategist, a keynote speaker, and a four-time author. And today I have a special guest with me. She is also my friend. She is a New York Times bestselling author, founder of Blank Page Consulting, and her name is Kim Green. How are you, Kim?
Hello, I'm fine and so happy to be here with you.
I'm so excited to have you. We are recording for the first time Mind Blowing Thursday because we had a little tech glitch earlier,
We
but
did.
we did.
We totally did, but okay.
But this is how we learn, right? This is how we grow. These are the tests that let us know if all the work we're doing ourselves is really working.
True. That's
So thanks
true.
for joining me for Mind Blowing Thursday. This is a space for women leaders to catch a breath and walk away with some tools that you can use on your journeys as leaders and also just as humans trying to get better.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about the healing power of writing.
Mhm.
But first, I always like to catch a breath. So we're going to take a few breaths together and then I'll lead you in just a short meditation, maybe 3 minutes, and then we'll get into our topic. You ready?
Yep. I'm in. I'm in.
So again, rub your palms together.
Okay.
We're just going to generate a little heat. Go ahead and take your right hand to your heart. Take
Mhm.
your left hand to your belly button.
Mhm.
Whew, and then just pause and check in with yourself. So you might notice the beat of your heart, maybe the rise and fall of your breath at the belly or at the chest. So just see how that feels. And then we're going to take 3 cleansing breaths. So inhale through your nose, let your belly fill. So you should feel the belly expand in your left hand. And then we're going to exhale with a loud sigh. You get more points for the louder that you are. The next one. So we'll do that again. So inhale through the nose, let the belly fill. Hold the breath at the top for just a beat, and then release it with a sigh. And then the last one, we're going to inhale through the nose, let the belly fill. This time, when you get to the top, see if you can take another little sip of breath. It might be a little uncomfortable, but just for a moment, and then hold the breath there. Hold it, hold it, and release it with a sigh. All right. So let's just take a couple minutes for a little meditation. So you can have your eyes closed if you want, if you prefer open eyes. You can have your eyes open just with an unfocused gaze, maybe about 2 feet in front of you. If you're sitting in a chair, you probably want to move your bottom towards the back of the chair just so you can sit up straight. And then the feet are planted on the floor. If you're someplace where you can take your shoes off, that might be nice for a little bit more grounding. So see how that feels. And then for hand postures, you can do palms down. That's kind of a grounding posture. If you feel like you are really looking for some inspiration or insights, you might try palms up. And then from here, just relax the crown of your head, relax your eyes, your jaw, relax your mouth, let your shoulders drop. Relax the chest and the belly, the hips and the thighs, the upper arms, the forearms, the hands. Relax the calves and the feet. And then just scan your body from head to toe. So if there's any place where you feel like you need to check in or adjust, go ahead and do that. And then just bring your awareness to your breath. So I don't want you to change how you're breathing. Just see if you can notice the sensation of air as it exits and leaves the body right at the tip of the nostrils. And if you find your mind wandering, just redirect it right back to the breath. with love and compassion. We're asking our mind to do one thing and one thing only. Just noticing the breath right at the tip of the nostrils. You might notice it's cooler on the inhalation and warmer on the exhalation. See if you can just notice that, focusing on one thing to the exclusion of anything else. All right, and then come back to your normal level of consciousness. Relax your concentration and take your time as you open your eyes and arise from your meditation. And so that was just a couple of minutes. But I don't know about you, it feels so good for
Mhm.
me
It
to
does.
have my brain do one thing. How did you make out, Kim?
It was good. It makes a big difference, actually.
Mhm. And I don't know if you're like me, but I often struggle where it's like, "Where's the time? I need to find the time." But sometimes just a couple minutes, 2, 3 minutes feels pretty good.
Hmm.
All right, so let's get into this conversation about the healing power of writing. Um, First, can you tell the audience a little bit about you and your journey and how writing has kind of impacted your healing journey?
Well, it's happened really organically. My mother died when I was 15 years old, and she died
Mm,
on the New York City subway. And there I was then left to deal with it with I was just an only child, and my father came to live in the apartment, and that's where it was. And my high school principal came to my house and said, "I'll see you at school tomorrow. Very sorry for your loss, and I'll see you at school tomorrow." Um,
okay.
and so I didn't really know what to do with all of that emotional stuff going
Mm,
on with me. And I really felt I was just so compelled, and I started writing. I was 15 years old and I just started writing. And I have these diaries, I call it the mother diaries, and I still have them. And it was just me writing how I felt. And I
mhm,
think that's the key about writing is just you have to write what you feel. And I got that all out for over pages and months, and it really was a healing for me. And then the second time I had that a catastrophe in my life is when I was diagnosed with lupus. And
mm,
I had just my son had just turned 1 years old. And
mm.
so here I was, and I was getting a divorce, by the way. Oh, three things all at
Ooh, the
once.
trifecta, the trifecta of
It
bad
was.
opportunities.
And I wrote a book called Hallucination. And it was
Wow.
all about that journey of how,
Mm,
uh, and just writing about it was so helpful to me. I got to see so many sides of myself that I'd never seen before. And I think that is sort of the big excitement about writing. You just see yourself, you see the truth of yourself.
mhm, mhm.
Deeper.
Yeah, I was working on something earlier today. It had an Iyanla Van Zant quote,
Mhm.
and she was talking about it was something about being willing to see your own darkness. Like in
Yes.
order to move forward, you have to be willing to be self-aware, and sometimes
And
it's
be
not all
honest.
easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm. To
It's
kind of walk
beautiful. It's
with
a beautiful discovery process, actually. I really like to promote it as a discovery so that
mhm.
people don't get scared of it and think it's going to be terrible or they're going to be judged. I mean, that's the other beautiful thing about therapeutic writing. There's no judgment.
Yeah, nobody has to see it.
Exactly right. Nobody has to see it. And if they do see it, nobody's checking your grammar or spelling. They're really listening to your heart, which is really something that they're not going to get out of your mouth.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for sure. So, why do you think that writing helps us process emotions more clearly than just thinking about them?
Well, that's a great question. I think it's because writing is the truth. It's the most intimate place, and it allows you the privacy to write what you feel. The writing versus the thinking, and the thinking versus the talking is where you can frame. That's why when we tell our friends a story, what he did, what she did, what they did. It's all a framing, right? It's like you're telling the story for the audience to make it funny, to make it sentimental, to make it somebody that so they can feel for you. It's all presented.
Hmm.
And also thinking, we tell ourselves certain things to keep going, right? Like, I wasn't wrong in this situation,
Yeah.
or, it wasn't
Hmm.
my fault, it was his fault or her fault. So I
Hmm.
think those are mind games that we play with ourselves to kind of get going. But when
Hmm.
it's just you and the page, it's the truth. It's the truth. And you can say, not only he did this or she did this to me, but you also can say, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And
Hmm.
that's like where we're getting there. But it's harder to be vulnerable like that when you're talking or even thinking, because the thinking is the thing that helps you navigate and keep going.
Hmm.
It's on the page where the truth comes out. And I think that
That's
that's
an interesting.
powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective that you think are more honest when they're
Yes.
writing than when they're thinking.
Absolutely. Or when they're speaking. The speaking is
Well,
where it's all,
speaking,
yeah.
yeah, there's a real struggle out here with authenticity.
Exactly right. Yes.
It's actually it's huge. Um,
Yes.
but I also think that when you're writing, it forces you to have some structure, you
Hmm.
know, to think maybe about the order that things have happened. Like when you're thinking,
Correct.
it could be
Yes.
kind of spiraling and all over the place. Not
Hmm.
that you can't write a spiral, because you probably can write a spiral
Right.
too,
Yes.
but I think it makes you find a little bit more structure there, you
Well,
know?
and I also think it lets you have space to think about things in different ways. You can see it in different angles. So I'll give you a perfect example. When I think about my divorce, right? So
Mhm,
it was a certain thing. He did it to me. Got it. And that
mhm,
was what it was. But when I started writing the book and I was writing about the marriage, then I saw myself. I saw that I wasn't like a great wife, right? I saw that I never cooked, for example. I never did the things that were expected of me. Not to say I didn't do other things like work and pay the bills, but there was a pieces of me that were missing. So I could see a person who grew up with a traditional marriage as a role model. His parents were like that. I can
mhm,
see him sort of like feeling like I'm in the wrong place, like she's not the
mhm,
right woman for me. And also, I had the same feeling about him, like you're expecting me to like make your plate at a barbecue. That's not right either for me. That doesn't feel like me. That's not
mhm,
authentic for me. So I think I could have never really come up with all of that if I was just thinking or talking about it to other people, because it's much
mm,
more entertaining to say he did all these horrible things to me. That's what
yeah,
people are like,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But
mhm.
for
But
me to
it gives
see
you
who I
space,
was,
though. To me, the blank page gives you,
exactly right.
like, physical room.
That's right. So you can tell the story in different ways and see the angles of it. So I think that's what also makes it fascinating. It's a great process.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so I'm looking here. I got my little cheat sheet in front of me. I'm looking at my questions.
That's all right.
So, so this is a good one. So, what surprises you most when people start writing about their lives or their struggles? Because you coach authors the
Yes,
same way that I do.
yes.
Mhm. So, how does that play out
I
for you?
see them change. I see them grow a lot. I
Mhm.
think obviously as a coach, the key to what we're doing is the questioning. And so I ask a lot of rigorous questions. And so when people write something that is not giving me any truth,
Honesty.
I
Mhm.
talk about it and I go
Mhm.
there and I say, you have to write that again. I don't understand it. It's not really telling me anything.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, oh, he did this to me sentence. That is
Mhm.
good. Why? What? What were you doing that make him,
Mhm,
you know what I mean?
mhm,
So I do a lot of probing. So I think in those kinds of conversations, there's a lot of growth in that. And I also saw a lot of people that, so many people just say, I feel so much better.
mhm.
I feel I'm healed. I just had a woman who we wrote this big, beautiful book, and it was very, very private, very, very private. It was really, she just wasn't ready to share it with the world, but we wrote it for over a year, and she just said, I got my healing from it.
Mhm.
That happened twice. So it's like I don't really need a book, but these, 9 months or this 6 months has healed me. I got what I needed from it. So I think
Mhm.
those are the two big reactions. Getting
Yeah.
back to the truth, or I feel better. I'm healed. I got it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did a training, a workshop that talked about finding your voice in
Mm-hmm.
writing because
Mm-hmm.
that's what I find, and I think I heard I'm trying to think who this quote was from, but it's like you start off writing the book and
Mm-hmm.
then later on the book is writing you because you're the
Yes.
one who is changing and being
Yes.
created in a new way. So I always find that really fascinating. So I like to leave our audiences with the actionable step that they can take right away. And I was wondering, what is a simple writing prompt that someone can use to start their healing process? Like, what's your favorite writing prompt?
I think a great writing prompt for anybody who's just starting is to write three things that they want to change in their life. And then if they have 2 minutes, take another three, write three things that they want for their life.
I like that. So, three things they want to change, and
Hmm?
then three things that they want.
Right. Yes,
I love that. And I know you do life coaching as well, right?
I
So,
do.
because a lot
Therapeutic
of times
writing.
it's yeah, because a lot of times it's so intertwined, and that
Mhm.
internal work of figuring out, like you might know that you're not loving every aspect of your life, but maybe you have never sat down and asked yourself the question, what do you want to change?
Right. Exactly.
And
Or
what do
how
you
did you
really
get
want to?
here?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes. How did you get here?
Hmm. I was listening to Deepak Chopra last night, Seven Spiritual Laws of Success.
Mhm.
And he starts off the book where he's like, you are where you are from all the decisions that you made.
Exactly right. Absolutely. It's a big piece. It's a huge piece.
Hmm. Yeah.
Powerful. It's very powerful work.
Uh-huh. Or even Jack Canfield has the success principles. And
Hmm.
he starts off with you are 100% responsible for your life.
That's it.
And the first time I read it, I wanted to fight. I'm
Of
like, you don't
course.
know about my life, Jack
Right.
Canfield. You know? But at the end of the day, we kind of are because we control at least our responses to the things
Right. That's
that are
right.
happening around us.
Yeah.
If I were going to share a writing prompt, I was trying to think, what would that be? I think probably the one that comes to mind for me is if
Hmm.
you have like I'm not sure this is exactly a prompt, but like if you have an issue that you
Hmm.
want some clarity on, to write the question before you
Hmm.
go to bed, whatever kind of question you have, go to sleep. And then when you wake up first thing in the morning, write the answer to the question.
Hmm.
'Cause there's like a little bit of magic that happens when we are still,
Hmm.
when we're sleeping. So I think that's a nice place to start.
Well, and also by writing it down, just writing the question down,
Yeah,
it
true.
seeps in.
Mhm.
Even if you go to bed and say, "Oh, I'm done. Okay, I wrote it down." Believe me, the question is in your body and it's
Mhm.
percolating for you. So it's true.
Exactly.
Writing is a magical thing, and I just am so happy to be spreading the gospel of it.
Yeah. I was, I guess, kind of like you. I didn't have the same kind of trauma.
Mhm.
But I think that, I don't know, did you write before you were 14 or was that really when you started writing?
That was when I started. I mean, I was writing some stuff because I used to help, believe it or not, I used to help my father with his business. And he asked me to like write some things, and I used to write them. And I loved writing. I loved writing because I loved reading. So like reading
Mhm.
just got me so excited. And so I was doing it to a certain level, but I think when that thing happened to me, and it's, it's also, I would remember being in college and my professor said, write what you know. And everybody says that, like, that's the cliche of what they say writers, write what you know. But I
Mhm.
think when I was diagnosed with lupus, and it was such a show. I mean, it is a show when you're diagnosed. You're going to a million doctors, they're calling you all the time, and so many pills. Like, you don't even know what's going on. It's like a
Mm.
whirlwind. And that, for the first time, when somebody suggested that I write something during this spare time of my being really sick, it was such a great moment for me because I was like, this is something I know. This is something I know what's happening to me right now, what's happening to my
Mhm.
body, what the doctors are saying, what the other people are saying, what the pills are doing to me, what I'm feeling. It was just, I knew this. And it was like, I'm ready to write about it because, first of all, I need to heal from it and understand it better. But I also just felt so confident because I had a piece of intel that I thought the world needed to know because a
That
lot,
was
a
unique.
lot of people have lupus, boy, a lot.
Mhm. Mhm. And the
And
writing probably did heal you because it's such a release,
yes, it
the
is. Yep.
release. Mhm.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's a
it's
safe
powerful
space.
stuff.
Mhm, mhm. So I know you have your, what is it? The Right to Heal retreat coming up in October in Arizona. Can you tell our audience about it?
It's called the You Have the Right,
I'll keep messing it.
WRITE, Right to Heal.
Mhm.
And it is 5 days in Tucson, Arizona. We're staying on this beautiful ranch, 12 acres. It's all ours for the week. And it's all, chef prepared meals, all kinds of activities. So they're all sort of non-invasive healing modalities like massage, yoga, acupuncture, sound healing, um, arch therapy, drumming. We're doing like a drum to heal session.
Mm.
We have a blessing that we're going out into the desert and we're being blessed by a Chiron guide who's an astrological, who comes at it from astrological healing and spiritual perspective. So there's all these wonderful things that we're doing, but most importantly, we're doing writing to heal. And everybody gets a journal and they get a little goodie bag of healing things. And we write, and every morning we have a big writing session, and then the conversations that come from that is sort of the
Mhm.
rest of so it's this intangible part of it, but it's a beautiful experience. I've had women tell me it's changed their life. I've had people shift, big shifts. We talk a lot about what to do now. Like, we've
Mhm.
healed, we've talked. Now, what's next steps? So it really has a little bit of structure in a sort of unstructured thing that is really about community, about truth, about love, and about writing to heal, like to get to the bottom of the things that are making us unhappy. And I really
Mhm.
started this retreat because I felt that there were so many unhappy women who just don't have their voices. They,
That's the truth.
it's
And I
like a
tell you,
very terrible thing.
when I look at what's going on around us in this country right now, my biggest pet peeve is that there are so many people who are not using their voices. And I
Yeah.
think that's how we got to where we are, you
Mhm.
know? But however we got here, we all have to deal with it. So I think
Yeah.
it's the perfect time to have a getaway where
Mhm.
people can, breathe and process things and figure out ways to feel better and more confident and find their voices. So I'm
Mhm.
so happy that you are doing that.
It's really a beautiful experience for anybody who wants community, who wants some time, time away from the family, the kids, the job, whatever. It's powerful, and I really am just so grateful for the people who have already signed up. We just have a few spaces left, but we would love to have anybody who's interested. They can always organize and schedule a call with me. You have the right to heal inquiry
Mhm.
call, and it's on my website. You can get to my website, wordsllc.com, and then you'll see the scheduling thing, the calendar, and you can schedule you have the right to heal inquiry call, and we'll just sit and talk about it. I'll just explain what you need and certainly answer any questions you have.
Yeah, and I'll put your website and I will tag you in the notes for
Okay,
this.
great.
Um, and What else was I gonna say? I don't know
Tucson,
what.
Arizona is beautiful
Oh,
in
I know it was
October.
what I was gonna say. It's all women. You didn't mention it.
Oh,
It's
it's
a
all
women's
women.
retreat.
Yes, you have the right to heal women's retreat.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
That's why it's beautiful community. That's why it's
It's a
beautiful.
different, yeah, it's definitely a different energy, I think, when it's a group of women.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much. I want to close this out with 3 breaths. We'll do them a little quicker this
Sure.
time. So
Okay.
rub your palms together.
Thank you again.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm gonna
Take
breathe
our
with you. Here
we'll
we
take our
go.
right hand to our heart, left hand to your belly. Inhale through your nose, let your belly fill. Exhale with a sigh. We'll do that 2 more times. Inhale through the nose. Exhale with a sigh. And for the last one, we'll hold it at the top a little bit longer. So inhale through the nose. Take another sip of breath. Hold it for just another moment. One more moment. One more. And release it with a sigh. Thank you.
Thank you, Trish. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. And for you who are listening in, if you are not getting my newsletter, Mind Blowing Monday 123, I encourage you to sign up. You will get 1 quote, 2 reflective questions, and 3 ways to lead with joy each week. And if you sign up on my website, it'll go straight into your email Monday mornings at 9 o'clock, or you can sign up for the LinkedIn version, which comes a little later in the day. So that is it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.
Thank you.